Argentina's World Cup final fallout has taken on real weight, with FIFA confirming it has opened formal disciplinary proceedings against multiple Argentine players and a member of the coaching staff following the chaos that erupted after the July 19 final against Spain at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. It's worth being precise about what this actually is. FIFA has opened cases, not issued rulings. The charges come from a report by an appointed disciplinary and ethics prosecutor after what ESPN described as a week-long investigation into the scenes that marred the post-match celebrations, and the accused now get to respond before FIFA's disciplinary committee decides anything, with no formal deadline yet announced for the conclusion of the process. According to a report attributed to The Athletic, the committee's prosecutor was specifically tasked with assessing everything that unfolded after the final whistle, and the resulting case list turned out to be broader than almost anyone expected going into the investigation. The sequence of events, as reconstructed from match footage in multiple outlets, starts with Nahuel Molina. Footage aired by the BBC appeared to show the Argentina right back catching Spain captain Rodri in the midriff as the midfielder sprinted onto the pitch to celebrate the win, widely reported as the spark that turned a tense final into a genuine brawl. From there, things escalated quickly. Leandro Paredes came in, reportedly jabbing Eric Garcia before turning his attention to Barcelona's Gavi, spinning him to ground and getting in his face while still holding on to his shirt. Spain's Borja Iglesias then barreled into Paredes, trying to separate the two sides, adding another body to an already chaotic scrum. Assistant coach Roberto Ayala was also filmed in the middle of it. Footage reportedly showed him holding Garcia by the throat before striking Spain's Dani Olmo. Ayala later described the Olmo incident as more of a shove than a strike, but Olmo was reportedly not interested in that explanation. Referee Slavko Vincic eventually sent Paredes off once the chaos was sorted out, on top of Enzo Fernandez, who had already been dismissed from the final itself after picking up a second yellow card in stoppage time. Interestingly, one report noted that a red card had also been briefly logged in FIFA's official system against Paredes for the Garcia incident specifically, before that entry was quietly deleted, with any actual sanction for that now expected to come to the retrospective disciplinary inquiry rather than the on-field officiating record. Molina, notably, wasn't shown a card at all on the night, which several outlets point to as exactly why FIFA felt a retrospective review was necessary in the first place. According to FIFA's own disciplinary bulletin, the charges break down as follows. Paredes faces 3 counts of alleged assault under Article 14 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code. Molina faces 2 counts of alleged assault, 1 completed, 1 attempted, plus 1 count of alleged unsporting behavior. Ayala faces 1 count of alleged assault, and Thiago Almada faces 1 count of alleged unsporting behavior. Spain's Gavi has also been charged with 1 count of alleged unsporting behavior. Despite being on the receiving end of much of the physical confrontation, a detail that's drawn real criticism from pundits and fans who see him as reacting to being manhandled rather than instigating anything himself. Under FIFA's code, unsporting behavior carries a minimum 1-match ban, while assault carries a minimum 3-match ban. Applying that literally across the charge counts, outlets like BANS Sports have floated the idea that Paredes could theoretically face as many as 9 matches if every count were upheld and stacked separately, though the same reporting is careful to note that a 5- or 6-match ban looks like the more realistic outcome based on how FIFA has handled comparable cases in the past. None of that is confirmed. It's the range currently being discussed by football media, not a decision handed down by the committee beyond the individual charges. FIFA has opened a separate and considerably wider set of proceedings against the Argentine Football Association itself. That case covers alleged discriminatory chants and gestures by supporters, alleged failures around match security and protocol compliance, objects reportedly thrown by spectators across several matches during the tournament, and, perhaps most politically sensitive of all, a banner reading Las Malvinas son Argentinas, that squad members reportedly displayed after their semi-final win over England, referencing Argentina's territorial claim over the Falkland Islands. That slogan isn't new to FIFA's disciplinary radar, either. According to BBC Sport, the Federation was fined £20,000 back in 2014 after a banner carrying the same message appeared before a friendly against Slovenia, which gives FIFA a documented precedent to draw on if it decides the AFA needs a harsher response this time around. If the AFA's case is upheld across its various strands, The federation could be looking at financial fines, restrictions on supporters, or matches played behind closed doors. Though again, nothing has been decided, and FIFA has given no indication of when a ruling might land. Argentina's coaching staff have addressed the fallout directly rather than staying silent on it. Head coach Lionel Scaloni spoke to the tone of the aftermath in the days following the final, saying, "We are gracious in victory, and we must be gracious in defeat," and adding that the team needed to show it knew how to lose. It's a notably different register than the celebration controversies that followed Argentina's 2022 title in Qatar, when players led by Lionel Messi were investigated for damaging interview zone partitions and for Emiliano Martinez's crude gesture with his Golden Glove trophy, and suggests the Federation is well aware of how this particular sequence of events looks to the outside world. Whether that tone translates into a lighter touch from FIFA's disciplinary committee is anyone's guess. Disciplinary rulings are generally weighed on the conduct itself rather than on post-match statements. As for timing, there's no fixed clock on cases like this. The prosecutor's report has already been submitted to the disciplinary committee. The charged individuals and the AFA now get their chance to submit responses, and a ruling follows after that. Sometimes within a couple weeks, sometimes considerably longer if any part of the case is contested. Given how many separate strands are running in parallel here, the on-field violence charges against Paredes, Molina, and Ayala, the unsporting conduct charges against Almada and Gavi, and the broader AFA case covering the banner, the chants, and the crowd control issues, it wouldn't be surprising if this ends up resolving as multiple separate rulings rather than one tidy, single verdict covering everyone at once. Whatever suspensions are eventually confirmed will be served during Argentina's next official competitive fixtures, which puts a real chunk of their upcoming World Cup qualifying or friendly schedule at stake, depending on how the final numbers shake out. It's also worth remembering this isn't unfamiliar territory for Argentina at a major tournament. Beyond the 2022 final controversy, the Federation was also investigated after their fiery 2022 quarterfinal shootout went over the Netherlands, when substitutes and coaching staff encroached onto the field during and after a heated finish, and Messi himself publicly criticized the officiating in the aftermath. What sets this case apart is simply the scale of it. For separate Argentine individuals facing personal charges, a Spanish player caught up in the same incident, and the Federation itself facing a multi-pronged investigation, all stemming from roughly the same 90 minutes of football. That's an unusually wide net for FIFA to cast off a single match. For now, all of it remains exactly what it's been since the case opened, an active, unresolved FIFA investigation, not a verdict. Suspension lengths being floated in the press right now, whether it's 9 matches, 6, or any other specific figure, are informed speculation based on FIFA's minimum ban thresholds and past precedent, not numbers that have come from the disciplinary committee itself. The one thing that is certain is that Argentina's route out of the 2026 World Cup final has turned into a far longer and more complicated story than anyone associated with either team expected when the whistle blew on July 19th.